Akin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over this way. The comment, it seems like when we talk about dealing with the budget deficit, it reminds me a little bit about these all kinds of imaginative weight loss programs, you know. And it seems like when you get down to the bottom line, you can either eat less or you can exercise more. You're only kind of given two alternatives. It seems like we're in the same way. We can try and sugarcoat it, but the problem is either we're spending too much or we've got to tax a whole lot more. The comment was made earlier, which I thought was an amazing quotation from Ms. McCollum. The budget deficit is not a spending problem. I found that amazing because it seemed like to me it sure is a big spending problem. So we're just on different planets, I suppose. But let's just assume instead of you're going to cut spending, that you're going to try to increase taxes. Now, my understanding is I take a look at historic data, our tax revenues run somewhere in that 18% range. My understanding is if we were to double the tax rate on everything across the board, we couldn't assume that we're going to get a double in revenue, federal revenue. In fact, we may well do what you're saying, crash the economy and get even less. I do recall we did dividends, capital gains, and death tax in May of 2003. And, you know, the Congressional Budget Office said, well, now you're going to have less revenue. But in fact, there was more revenue because the economy kind of got going. And so my question is, when I take a look at this overall problem that we're, you know, too heavy in terms of like a weight loss thing, it's pretty spooky to me because you add all of the entitlements, the main ones, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and then the other kinds of entitlements and add debt service to that. And it seems, when I've looked at the numbers, looking like about 2.3 roughly trillion. And our revenues is about the same thing. So that says you can zero defense, zero discretionary, non-defense, and you're right now just at parity. So I don't understand. I guess my question to you is, first of all, don't we have to essentially deal with the entitlements just by definition? Or can you actually make it up by just doubling taxes and hope there's going to be a ton more revenue?
Well, I think that, as you point out, I mean, that in the long run, at the way we're going, entitlements plus interest would basically be the entire government budget. And so unless you raise taxes considerably, now it's up to Congress to find the right balance between taxes and cuts and so on, of course. But I do think you need to look seriously, particularly at the health care costs, which is, of course, part of what's been going on the last couple of years here in Congress. But I think a focus on the cost side is important, and it would be difficult, I think. While I'm very loath to prescribe exactly how, to address these issues, I do think that it would be very difficult to leave health care programs untouched and still achieve budgetary balance in the next 15 years.
Well, thank you. I think what I heard you saying is you really got to deal with that rate of spending, and particularly in the entitlement, the health care piece is such a big part of that has to be dealt with. And that raising taxes, just to finish the question, can you raise...
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Thank you.